Welcome to SVG-TV News for Tuesday, August 8th, 2023. I am Rochelle Batiste with the details. Director of the National Insurance Services, Stuart Haynes, has given citizens the assurance that the institution is financially sound. Stuart, who was a guest on the WFM Issues at Hand program on Sunday, discussing the NIS fund, said the institution will be able to meet its obligation for the next 12 years.
Currently, NIS is financially and actuarially sound because we are able to meet our obligation in full and on time for the next 12 years, right? We have reserve based on the half-year report about 476 million or so total asset base. We doing on the contribution income side, we have collected roughly like 35.5 million. On the benefit side, that is growing fast. We paid 44.4 million roughly for the half year. Investment income did very well. Pick up from last year. We collected about 8 or so 9 million in contribution income to date. That is on a cash basis. Our admin expense, we spend about 5.5 million. So what we noted is that total expenditure exceed total income by 5.6 million. We have an asset base comprised about 400 and something million.
Further speaking on the NIS financial standings, Haynes said while the contribution rate is improving, the benefit rate is growing even faster.
We doing on the contribution income side, we have collected roughly like 35.5 million. On the benefit side, that is growing fast. We paid 44.4 million roughly for the half year. Investment income did very well. Pick up from last year. We collected about 8 or so 9 million in contribution income to date. That is on a cash basis. Our admin expense, we spend about 5.5 million. So what we noted is that total expenditure exceed total income by 5.6 million. We have an asset base comprised about 400 and something million, right?
So even if your expenditure exceeds by about 4.5 million, you're still solid.
Yeah, we're still solid
of your asset
right
base.
And I want the public to understand that this is how the plan was designed. We finance social security costs via a hybrid mechanism. We use the contributions from workers, and that contribution, as I say, amounted to about 35.5 million.
During a ministerial statement in Parliament on July 13th, Finance Minister Camilo Gonzalez spoke on the report of the 11th Actuarial Review of the NIS and an independent analysis of this review, which was conducted by the World Bank's Reserve Advisory and Management Partnership RAMP. He told Parliament that reform of the NIS social system is an urgent and unavoidable imperative, noting that with the NIS funds projected to be depleted around 2034, with more retirees in the country and living longer than before, and with an unsustainably generous pension design, reform is urgently needed. He said it has been recommended that there be a gradual contribution rate increase from 10% to 15% over a 10-year period, 2023 to 2033, a change in pension formula to reduce new average pension amounts by reducing the maximum actuarial rate of 60% to 55%, a shift from an age pension where pensions are received at a specific age to a retirement pension where pensions are paid when you are substantially retired, and mandatory coverage of self-employed persons. Minister Gonzalez said these adjustments are expected to help extend the date of the NIS fund reserve depletion expected in 2034 without reform. In other local news now, we hear that a major meeting of the 16 small island developing states, the SIDs of the Caribbean, commenced today at the UWI Open Campus site in capital Kingston under the theme Charting the Course Towards Prosperity. Delivering the welcome remarks at the opening ceremony, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, Sandy Peters Phillips, said the meeting aims to to assess development progress and agreed on priorities for the 4th International Conference on SIDs, which is scheduled to take place in Antigua and Barbuda in May 2024.
Over the next few days, participants are expected to engage in meaningful discussions concerning challenges and issues affecting small island developing states in the Caribbean, and some of these are as follows. 1. Assessment to the Samosa pathway progress. 2. Strategic response to external shocks impacting Caribbean small island developing states. 3. Social and human capital development priorities. 4. Resource mobilization and concessional financing for Caribbean SIDS. 5. Building institutional and statistical capacity to support informed decision-making in the Caribbean islands and small island developing states. 6. Innovative actions to stimulate transformative development in Caribbean small island developing states. And 7. Unlocking meaningful and effective multi-stakeholder partnerships to support the sustainable development of the Caribbean region. Furthermore, and importantly, the meeting is expected to generate an outcome document reflective of solutions and recommendations to these challenges that are constantly plaguing small island developing states in the Caribbean, as well as their economic and social development levels.
SVG's Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, Kiesel Peters, told the opening ceremony that the meeting comes at a crucial time when small island states continue to face many challenges economically, socially, and environmentally.
St. Vincent and the Grenadines is a prime example of what SIDS face given our vulnerabilities. In 2020, like all countries, we were confronted with the uncertainties and devastating impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic. But in 2021, unlike the majority of other countries, at the height of the pandemic, we experienced multiple explosive eruptions of the La Soufrière volcano, resulting in widespread damage to agricultural lands, public and private infrastructure, and the displacement of about 1/5 of our population into emergency shelters. Then, without time to even properly assess the extent of what we had just experienced, Hurricane Elsa was upon us, bringing with it further devastating impacts, especially to the windward side of the island and our most vulnerable indigenous communities. This should put into perspective the plight of SIDS like St. Vincent and the Grenadines and other islands in the Caribbean, as well as in the Pacific, and in the IAS, the Atlantic, Indian Ocean, and South China Sea regions.
Minister Peters further told the delegates at the meeting that small island developing states must collectively advocate, coordinate, and partner to further enhance the sustainable development agenda.
It is imperative for us that the special case of SIDS be translated into action. As we meet over the next 2.5 days to assess progress and identify gaps and challenges associated with the implementation of the SIDS Accelerated Modalities of Action, or better known as the Samoa Pathway, we must acknowledge that we are not only faced with new and rapidly evolving challenges, but are still battling old systemic barriers, which have kept us from attaining our highest goals. Though we have made progress in many areas, such progress continues to be overshadowed and may even be considered negligible in light of the limitations that still exist in our recovery, our rebuilding, and resilience efforts. We are all too familiar with the calls that we have made regarding the issue of financing for the development of SIDS. SIDS have continuously championed the call for access to affordable financing. This remains a barrier on top of the burden we already carry, that of high debt directly resulting from efforts aimed at development. The international financial institutions have for a very long time proven themselves unfriendly when they deem SIDS ineligible to access concessional financing based on their economic status and employing only the GDP per capita measure when determining eligibility for concessional financing.
Further outlining the challenges facing SIDS, the Foreign Affairs Minister said data collection and data sharing are obstacles which they must overcome.
Our way forward is that of data collection and data sharing. In assessing our progress towards our sustainable development goals, data collection is an area we must improve upon, as readily accessible data proves invaluable in making significant strides. If we are to accurately measure our progress, improve on implementation and monitoring and evaluation, we must have the relevant data, and even better, data owned and driven by SIDS. We applaud the government of Antigua and Barbuda in leading the charge towards a center of excellence which promises to be a great aid to SIDS, where relevant data can be accessed and used to enhance actions and initiatives taken by SIDS towards development. This will also increase our ability to attract support and investment from partners who stand ready to assist SIDS. It is indeed heartening to see great representation from our development partners. We welcome your invaluable support, as SIDS cannot do it alone.
Next year, the Global Conference will conduct a thorough evaluation of the progress made in implementing the SIDS Accelerated Modalities of Action Pathway, a significant international development agreement reached in 2014. This week's meeting here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines is expected to adopt an outcome document with comprehensive recommendations and strategic action plans specifically tailored for the Caribbean region. The document is expected to play a vital role in the preparations for the 2024 conference in Antigua. Monday, August 7th, began a one-week celebration to mark the 6th Inter-American Week for Indigenous People. Cultural Officer in the Ministry of Tourism, Culture and Sustainable Development, Maxine Brown, said the celebration activities from August 7th to the 11th are being held under the theme Indigenous Youth as Agents of Change for Self-Determination in the Americas, Intergenerational Connections.
And so there are a myriad of activities held throughout this week among members of the US, the Organization of the American States, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines is no exception. However, on August 9th, Wednesday, August 9th, not only are we encouraging all Vincentians to step out in the indigenous wear or fashion in what we have dubbed at the Department of Culture as Indigenous Wear Day, but the Department of Culture and the Ministry of Tourism, Civil Aviation, Sustainable Development and Culture will also host Culture Pot, where we celebrate International Day of the World's Indigenous People from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Peace Memorial Hall. Culture Pot will be a medley of indigenous dances, music, poetry, fashion, craft, indigenous food from local vendors, and most are from our indigenous communities of fancy wear and such likes. And you ought to be there. Come, let's celebrate our indigenous people. Come and participate in our Culture Pot, as we have called it, at the Peace Memorial Hall. And again, I reiterate, it begins at 10 a.m. on Wednesday, August 9th. During this week as well, there was the opening ceremony online. And on the 11th, there's also an activity via Zoom, and I implore my fellow Vincentians to get the link from the local AS office, and you can tune in, and the theme will be centered around intergenerational connections, the role of gastronomy in preserving time-honored traditional customs and strengthening indigenous identity. And to speak of gastronomy is to speak of our foods, how we cook it, the way we do it, how we should use it. So it's all about the food. So there are several activities planned for this week, but these are some of the core activities I've just mentioned. And of course, again, I remind you that on Wednesday, for International Day of People of Indigenous Descent, for Indigenous people, we're going to have an Indigenous wedding where we
Brown said there is also a workshop taking place this week as part of the Indigenous Week celebration where persons can learn more about their heritage.
Habinaha Garinagu, a workshop that teaches and showcases our Garifuna heritage in language, music and dance. It's being held at the Bethel High School from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. daily. So if you want to learn more about your heritage, this is your chance. We have two awesome facilitators here from Belize, but they're living in the U.S. in the persons of James Lovell, a musician, and Eleanor Costello-Bullock, who's a dancer choreographer, and she also teaches the language. So they're here. I made time this afternoon to go and witness what's happening at the Bethel High School, and I was really impressed. So students who are home, you have nothing to do. This is your chance to learn all about our Garifuna heritage. So come on out. It's Habinaha Garinagu. And what a fitting time to start this workshop during Indigenous Peoples Week. So it's your chance to come out and learn more our story about our heritage. So come on out. It's Habinaha Garinagu at the Bethel High School for students of all ages from age 6 to 17. But if you're 18 and you want to be there, we'll never turn you away. So this is your chance to learn more about your Garifuna heritage during this, our heritage, during our Indigenous Peoples Week.
The Internet Society St. Vincent and the Grenadines ISOC SVG will host a local leg of a regional ICT event from tomorrow, Wednesday, August 9th, dubbed the ICT Roadshow. The event is being held in collaboration with the Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Members, Latin America and the Caribbean Internet Roadshow and the Caribbean Network Operators Group. The roadshow will be held at the Methodist Church Hall in Capital Kingstown from tomorrow, Wednesday, August 9th to Friday, August 11th, 2023 under the theme Internet for All, Securing Our Digital Future. A news release from the organizers say the purpose of the Internet Governance Forum is to bring together multi-stakeholder groups and individuals to discuss and share good practices on Internet governance issues, promotes a common understanding of how to maximize Internet opportunities and address different types of challenges that arise in a bottom-up, multi-stakeholder, open and transparent manner. On Thursday, August 10th, the roadshow will be led by Regional Vice President Rogerio de la Parra. On Friday, August 11th, the Carinago Tech Forum will be convened. Carinago is a body that exchanges technical information and experiences related to the management of IP networks in the Caribbean. The Roadshow Forum is expected to bring together technical personnel such as network operators, IT practitioners, students, regulators, government representatives, and other persons or organizations interested in the advancement of the Internet. Carinago will also facilitate capacity building and professional networking activities during the ICT Roadshow. President of the ISOC SVG, Roxanne John, says the three-day event underscores the importance of creating a platform for multi-stakeholders to meet and share knowledge and insights on Internet development here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Miss SVG 2023, Jada Ross placed first runner-up in the Miss Caribbean Cultural Queen pageant held last evening in Nevis. The keenly contested pageant was hosted by the Nevis Tourism Authority under the theme 49 Years of Mass and Spree Culturama 2023. Ross 21 won the Best Talent category in the pageant, won by the delegate representing Guyana, Shemina Perron. Miss St. Thomas Lamoni Morris was second runner-up. Here is a snippet of Jada's winning talent performance.
What to do? You see, I tell out the road ain't easy. I long for eat a KFC. And I know it's not me alone, no. Ask any one of them Charlie will come out here tonight. How are you doing? I guarantee you they can say, I'm quite delighted to be here. I've had such a fantastic time this far. I'm so proud of my journey. Lie. Hungry, them hungry. Just like me. Nevis, it have something else in her. The kind of thing that this war we do. I have a problem. And we need justice. Justice! Me need justice in a complex, yeah. How you want me wear high heel with swimsuits at night? Nonsense! I have the perfect remedy. See there. It's a sneaker. It's a slipper and a sneaker. Sleeper. Check me for the one, but check me after the show. Don't check me right now because I'm doing something here.
And Mr. Rommel David has been appointed as the 2023 Junior Minister of Tourism for St. Vincent and the Grenadines by the Ministry of Tourism, Civil Aviation, Sustainable Development and Culture. David, a St. Vincent Girls High School student, won this year's Local Tourism Youth Congress on Monday, July 31st, 2023, when she contested against Roman Rodriguez of the North Union Secondary School. The Junior Minister of Tourism will represent St. Vincent and the Grenadines in the Turks and Caicos Islands Regional Tourism Youth Congress in October this year. The Caribbean Tourism Organization's annual State of the Industry Conference includes the Regional Tourism Youth Congress, which seeks to shape future tourism industry leaders by using its platform to incite and inspire change through their representation on issues relevant to the growth and sustainability of the tourism sector. The Caribbean Tourism Organization, CTO, organized the first Regional Tourism Youth Conference in Barbados in 2000. According to the CTO, the Congress was designed to raise awareness among the region's young people about the tourism industry and its importance. Participants aged 14 to 17 represent their respective CTO member countries as junior ministers or commissioners of tourism. Marika Baptiste, a St. Vincent and the Grenadines Community College student at the time, finished second in the 2022 Regional Youth Congress held in the Cayman Islands. Now we hear that over 500 Vincentians are currently enlisted in the British Royal Navy. This is according to Sub-Lieutenant Adia Providence Culsack, who on the Police Beat program yesterday said for the past 20 years, the Royal Navy has recruited hundreds of Vincentians. Providence Culsack, who hails from Longwall in the Kingston area, was discussing the life of a naval officer during the Police Beat program yesterday.
Those 20 years, some have left and moved on to other careers, whether it's the police force here in the UK, whether it's engineering or whatever career fields that they have served in, they have gone to civilian sector jobs. But certainly over 1,000 Vincentians have come through the system, the Royal Navy in particular, over the past 20 years, with 500 currently serving.
Okay, that's that.
Yeah, most definitely, and I will tell you this: wherever you go in the UK, especially around the military bases, there's a Vincentian, and there's a Vincentian there doing extraordinary things. So on all our platforms, on all our establishments and bases, you would speak to a commanding officer, and they would tell you a sort of good story, a good field story about Vincentian who has contributed immensely to the operational capability of that platform, or just working to make the lived experience of themselves and also their comrades much better.
Noting that there is a cross-generation emerging, Providence Culsack said the social media culture is on the rise and a vast percentage of the young generation is losing the essence of their identity.
And so I've had the benefit, I think, probably the dying off of, the thriving civil society organizations, when St. Vincent and much like the other Caribbean countries had a plethora of organizations, especially youth organizations, and many people involved. And you've seen, somewhat not so many around these days, and obviously it has given away those traditional forms of advocacy.
Providence Culsack said being part of several service organizations or clubs has assisted in his personal and professional development.
Yeah, I think most definitely, and that's credit to my mom, who was a brownie herself. And she loved military parades, I've been told. And so she sort of enrolled me in Boys Brigade when I was in primary school.
Yes.
And then when I transitioned from primary school to the St. Vincent Grammar School, I then joined the St. Vincent Grammar Cadet Force. And again, kudos to those institutions who have been, they've been around quite some time and have molded generations of Vincentians. But again, I think my journey, and when we get to that later in the program, my journey of the now is really a reflection of those institutions having, I think, invested in me personally and helping to grow as an individual, but also just providing these sort of experiences and exposure that you wouldn't normally get maybe as a kid, a child, without involving yourself in those organizations. I think that exposure has redounded to my benefit. And I also want to give kudos to basically give credit to another organization, which is the National Youth Council.
Okay.
Because again, when I was in high school, I also was a part of the National Youth Council and came through the ranks and served that body for several years. Okay. And that, again, gave me a different type of exposure from the military setting. But it helped in terms of my confidence. It helped in terms of presenting myself. It helped in terms of debate and having, a view of the world and on what you sort of stand for. So again, I'm quite appreciative of all those experiences over the years.
Providence Kalzak was appointed a member of the Military Division of the Most Excellent Order of the British Empire, the MBE, in recognition of his outstanding performance in the Diversity and Inclusion team at the Navy Command Headquarters. We do wish him all the best.